Okay, welcome. We're on site and as promised we're going to have a little recce tour of the proposed site for the 2016 Summer Prepper Meet in the UK, and I thought it was a good idea to come down in person and to check it out myself and to bring you guys along as well. Okay, at the moment we're standing in the field, which is going to be car parking and camping. I have been staying overnight in the place behind me, which is the Woodland with the huts. We're going to talk about that a bit later on in the video, but for now we're going to have a good look around and see exactly what it's all about. Okay, so there's the gate, which is the entrance to this field, and the ground is nice and level all the way along where we're standing right now. Okay, which is imperative if you want to do your tent camping and whatnot. It's perfect. It looks pretty good actually. The size seems very adequate for a lot of people. And if you see in the distance where them trees are, I think there's quite a few cabins in there, and I think they're going for around £30 or something, and you can easily fit a little family in them, and they're great. And I think it'd be okay to park next to some huts, and there is good possibilities for hammock camping in that Woodland as well, providing that people just try and stick close together. Yeah, you'll get a lot of people in there. It all seems good, but as I say, we'll have a look at that a bit later on. I just thought I'd bring you around and show you the site and the field. The field condition is very, very good. It's nice and flat, there's no bumps or holes, it's not boggy. It's, considering the rain we've had, I think it's great. And you know, after being to a few events like the Bushcraft show, etc., you know, if you get it wrong, you know, you could be in big trouble. But it looks very promising, very good. So we'll walk along the perimeter and get another view from the other top end. Okay, so walking in part of this Lonian wood, I would say this place would be ideal for bashers or ground dwellers, maybe even tents in the ground as well, because when summer comes, these are going to be shading you, which is excellent. Hammocks, personally, I wouldn't want to risk it in this woods, if I'm honest. You might be able to find about 20 trees suitable out of all of these trees, but to be honest, I'm going to try and have a word with the landowner to see if we can get that woods up in a distance, Beards Oak Woods with the cabins, because that is perfect for hammock campers. But this place I think will be excellent for bashers. Okay, just inside the fenced area of these Lonian woods, we come across a few of these. Now there's 4 in total of these water taps, which are going to be on and fully functional. They go on separate areas, equally spaced throughout the entire length of the fence run. So that will be great for everyone to refill their canteens, for washing, etc. I think a basher or an army issue basher would be absolutely perfect for the distances between these trees here. And yeah, I think that is what it's going to be suited for as well. And if you really want to, there's nothing stopping you putting your tents up in there, or your double hoop bivvies or whatnot. I know it's a very young woodland, and I know we really are going to have to be at our best behaviour. Okay, you know, we really will be leaving no trace. We won't be cutting any limbs or anything. Okay, when you do your fire pits on the floor, dig the turf out, put it to one side, do your fire. You know, make sure it's wet around it so it doesn't spread, and just wait for it's cooled down, watered it out, and replace the turf. So that will be a leave no trace plus point. Okay, we don't want people just leaving a mess. We don't want people hacking limbs off and making bushcraft chairs, etc. This is purely going to be put your basher up, sleeping bag, small fires, happy days. And on my way out of doing a recce for these woods, we come across yet more water taps. I haven't got around to seeing all of them, but I'm estimating there's going to be around 6 to 8 maybe of functional water taps all over the place. Okay, so you're not going to have too far to go to replenish your water supply, which is very good and very handy. There won't be any vehicles allowed on this area, so you will be asked to park just on the other side of the fence, past that tree line, and just make the short walk around to this gate, and then come in here and pitch wherever you want to sleep and enjoy your stay. Okay, so that's a little view of the woodland on the outside. There's the entrance gate, and it's not too far for where you see the field there right next to it. So it's pretty good for parking and just literally walking around the corner and then into the woods. And I must reiterate, they are very young woods and they must really be looked after, okay? We don't want no shelters etc made up from cut down trees, alright? We need to sort of preserve it as much as we can and do ourselves proud, alright? And yeah, it should be a great event. And as I mentioned earlier, it looks sparse now, but all of that will be a canopy. It will all be green because it'll be full on summertime in July, and it should be very nice. Let's just hope we get a lovely day like today, because it's just beautiful. Okay, so we're at the Bearded Oak Woods, and there's a few of us friends, and there's my setup there, the MTP, there's the vehicle, and there's the sheds that I mentioned earlier. And there's a long access track right through the middle of this woodlands, and either side, as you can see, there's cabins. And Armour Cockroach is field testing that one. He's spent many a times under the basher in all sorts of conditions, so it's only fair that he gets to do exactly what he wants and relax. With each station you get like a suitable bench, a big table, and they supply like a fire grate pit. There's a wood burner in there. I'm not going to give you a detailed tour inside, maybe later, because it's got Roach's personal things in there. You've got the this little setup in there, and the wood burner, and just quickly a bed. Okay, nice and simple. Everything's alarmed and safe, so if you do want to leave your valuables in there and toddle off for the day, it's all alarmed and safe. Okay, and there's Roach's rig, and just been speaking to the guy, and it's great because he said, you know, at short notice I invited him along. He literally come out with his clothes and his iPhone, nothing else. Everything is in the vehicle, and there's everything he's ever going to need, which is a good lesson for us all to show, take heed really, you know. Make sure you've got stuff in the vehicle where you can come and do things like this without having to pack it all the time. Now I've got my finger guarding the microphone because it is a bit windy and I don't want the noise to ruin it all. Also some of them, I'm not sure if there's a small extra charge, but you can get hay bales as seats, which is quite cool. We met the family who stayed in this one last night. They had a great time, the kids were there, and yep, left it pretty much as they found it, which is good. So what I'm thinking, what me and Roach were thinking, we had a chat last night, and you can see that on Armour Cockroach's video on his channel. We discussed the possibilities of how we can actually use this stretch of woodland if, and it is an if, we get permission to use it. I'm not sure if we will get permission, but if we did, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think there's about 12 cabins, 6 each side on this stretch of woodland, okay, which is great. But one thing we did notice was these trees. Now the way the trees are planted was pretty much in the basher woods, as I call them, where we've just been walking around in. They're sort of planted equally spaced. Now these ones here are perfectly placed if you set your hammock up in a diagonal configuration rather than a right angle configuration from tree to tree, if that makes sense. Okay, we got another family who's I just gone off for a walk. They was here earlier. You know, if we're setting hammocks up, the trees are strong enough to take it. I was a bit concerned about the other woods putting hammocks because a lot of the trees were quite young, but these seem fine. Okay, now where they're planted in a straight on grove type configuration, from left to right there it might be a bit short, but if you use diagonal from this one to that one there, there's plenty big enough. And you know, can you imagine if people went from this tree to that tree there, all the way along, like that one to the next one, etc. You would get loads of hammocks in there. You really, really would. And you know, put your bashes and tarps up over the top in case it rained. It'd be beautiful. Now the only way, if we got permission of course, that this would work to hammock all the way along there, Denny's Avenues, there's loads of them. The only way this is going to work is if we made it a rule that only one vehicle per cabin was to come into this woods. Because what we didn't want to do is to have lots of vehicles all in these woods everywhere, because you will just feel like you're camping in a car park, all right? And that's not what we want, okay? You know, the reason we come into the woods is to get away from stuff. And you start filling up with cars, you're defeating the whole object, basically. Well, in our opinion, anyway. And also, I think it's a sensible idea to have the central route through the middle for vehicle access for emergencies, okay? If God forbid, if there is a major fire in a cabin, you know, you can get a fire engine down there, or if someone's having a bad time medically, you can get an ambulance down there as well, all right? So I think it's a sensible thing to leave that main drive through the middle of this wood clear, all right? We don't want it filled up with vehicles. So for instance, if you saw that cabin there and you had a car next to it, or a van or IV or whatever, sorry, RV, that would be fine. And yeah, there's woods and there's woods. So hopefully we're going to have a chat with the landowner, if we can find him, to see if we can get permission to use this woods as well as the ones across the field there. Okay, good news. We spoke to the landowner and it's perfectly fine for all of us to use these cabins if we want to. The deal's going to be one vehicle per park up next to it. If family goes in there, no problem at all. If anyone wants to use these woods to hammock in, it'll just be to park down on the main field with everyone else, walk up here with your kit and set your hammock up, all good. So in effect, what we've negotiated is we've got one area, which is that small woodland for bashers and some tents. We've got one field for tents, and we've got this area for hammocks and cabins. So everyone is going to be catered for, which is fantastic. We really hope that the weather's going to hold out, because if it does, this really will be a memorable event. And so far the tickets are selling quite good, so it's very encouraging. And yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you. Thanks for coming along. The link down below for anyone who's interested in coming along, meeting myself and Roach, and indeed anyone else who's interested in stuff we get up to in this crazy world of prepping and bushcraft survival, etc. And yeah, that's all I can say about that. So if anyone's interested, as I say, check the link below. You would have to go to the section regarding camping and the cabins, and it's part of the field on the website, and it'll all be there sorted. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay funky.
I'm gonna turn back time and start again.